Yo, 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 it's your friend Dinner Dog, and I'm joined by my friend Popeye the Bird here because sometimes it's just better to do things with more people, right? And that is absolutely true with racing. It's so much fun to race with people and play the randomizer. Playing the randomizer solo is fun, but it's not as fun as racing, trust me. Even if you're not competitive, like it's just a good time. We've got a good community of people. You'll definitely enjoy yourself. So we're going to go through a number of things in today's video. But first, if you're new to the randomizer and you haven't set up the emulator yet, go check out Godchild's emulator setup video. It's going to do a lot of cool things for you. It's the most up-to-date version of how you set these things up. And he does a great job explaining it in detail, so you can't go wrong. And I believe he also goes over the tracker and stuff like that too, which are très bien. Talok made both the race spot, which is the first thing we're going to talk about, and the tracker, and you definitely want to utilize both of those. So aside from just understanding what the race spot is, we'll talk about first time setups. So getting yourself ready to race essentially and doing a few admin things. How do you start and or participate in races? What are the rules and etiquette? What are these PPF files you may have seen floating around, and like you've probably never seen the extension .ppf before, so we'll talk about that. And then when should you start racing, right? So let's get it here. So the race spot's really cool. So all the races that we do are all through the Long Library Discord. If you're not on that yet, go to SotN.io. There's a link to the Discord within that site. It'll bring you in, and then you'll get access to a bunch of cool things. And one of those cool things is the race bot, which essentially resides within the Long Library. And so why do we use a race bot, and what does it do? So first of all, it obviously organizes racing. It provides people with a race pager role, which is really cool because then you can know when races are about to start. We'll talk about that in a moment. It allows or what it does is it sets the seed for a race. And it provides equipment spoilers. So like it's not like we're going to start a race and someone needs to generate a seed and then disperse it. The bot does all that for us. Really make sure like people can't like cheat and say, "Oh yeah, here's a seed for us," and like, "Hey, I've already looked at it, right? Don't worry about it." Does a countdown, which you know what? A countdown sounds like such a monotonous thing. But Talok actually reached out to Robert Belgrade, who's literally the voice of Alucard. And he literally recorded not just one, but several iterations of a 3-2-1 go. It's super cool. So you'll definitely want to be around for that. And for people who are trying to watch a race, so even if you don't want to race yourself, like, this video is still cool for you. So it provides a multi-string link that you can click on, and then it will bring up like a thing of up to 8 racers, and you can watch them all in real time, if they're streaming, of course. It also prevents trolls from disrupting a race. So like if you're in a voice channel and like midway through a race, someone tries to like jump in and like say something really stupid, it stops that. Essentially, once a race begins, no one else or people can join the voice channel, but they'll be automatically muted. So they'll just be suppressed, and that's good. It determines the finishing order, and in some cases it'll assign ELO, which is essentially just a rating system, named after the guy who invented it. Right now, at the time of the recording, ELO is default turned off. Maybe that'll change in the future, but for the meantime, you'd have to specify with a bot that you want to do a race that's ranked. If you want it to give you fake internet points. All right. So do you interact mainly with the race bot in the race channel text channel? So it's a little confusing. So first of all, you can interact with the bot in any text channel you want, but typically we do most of it in the race channel, just to keep the other channels from getting cluttered. But technically, you could do it in any channel the race bot will respond. The And you can see here on this section here, there's text channels that have a race channel, and there's a voice channel that has also 2 race channels. It's easy to get them confused. I've definitely done it. I remember when I was first starting out, I accidentally joined. I wanted to watch a race, so I clicked race channel, but I accidentally clicked the voice channel, and I'll never forget the sound of Diagon just going like "hello," and then like me just bouncing out right away, being like, "Oh crap, I'm in the wrong place," right? The So yeah, just make sure you keep these straight in your head. But otherwise, to interact with the race bot is the same way you interact with any Discord commands. In the text box at the bottom, you just type the slash. It will show you both Discord commands and the race bot commands. If you click on this like eyeball here from Star, from StarCraft. It will bring up all the commands specific to the bot and explain some of them. Your list may look a bit different from mine because I'm a referee, which is cool. But otherwise, like you'll see everything and it has a description. So that's the race bot and how to interact with it. So before you start racing, there's like essentially two things you need to do with the bot. The first is you want to get the race pager role, because if anyone's going to start up a race, that's this method they're going to use to let everyone know to say, hey, I want to race. Does anyone else want to race? Even if you don't want to race right now, having the role lets you know when other people are racing if you want to watch it to get used to like, hey, like how do other people do this and all that stuff. So you just literally type /pager. It gives you the role. You'll get notifications on your phone or on your desktop. And if you get too many and you don't want this anymore, just also type /pager again. It'll give it to you. The bot will only respond to you, so it doesn't really matter where you do this one, and it'll even say like in the text message like you can only see this, so it's not really something like you can spam and get in people's way. The second thing is you don't need to stream to Twitch to race. You can, and it's a lot of fun. I'd recommend it, but if you don't have a computer that can't handle it, or you don't want to, you haven't set that stuff up, or you're just like, hey, I don't want to be a streamer, then don't worry about it. But if you do, type /stream, and then it'll have a subtext box where you can put your stream name in there. Don't put the stream full address. Like it's not like twitch.tv/dinnerdog. It's just dinnerdog, all right? And whatever the equivalent is for you, that's all you need in that bad boy. And lastly, and you'll see it in God's Child setup video, you should really have a clear file on your memory card so that you can skip cutscenes, or else you're practically doomed to lose. And you should use the tracker, which I believe God's Child goes through. And again, the tracker is built by Talik, and it's amazing. So you should have all those things done before you start a race. It takes like a couple minutes. All right, so if you're going to join a race, right? So let's say someone's hit the race pager, you've got the role, and it's like, oh, there's going to be a race on the go. Perfect. If you were to go into the race channel text channel, you would see something like this in there, right? So you see it says waiting for players. It says what preset we're doing. It says who's currently racing, which is right now just me. So if you want to join, you just click this button here and you're good to go. When you click join, your name will show up on this list. You can click join again to leave it as well. Once you're ready and you're like, hey, I'm good to start, you hit the ready button and it'll add the word ready beside your name. Now you should only hit the ready button when you're in the game, you've got the ROM all patched with the right seed, and you're on the name entry screen. That's where we start from. You don't start from control of Richter, at least in terms of like from the race bot perspective. When the race bot says go, you hit start on the name entry screen. And you can screw this up. Like you can be on the wrong screen somewhere else in the menu, and it sucks. Like, oh shit, I'm on the wrong thing, right? So just like make sure you're on the name entry and then hit ready. Once the last person hits ready, looks like everyone else has hit ready, and then the last person hits that button, it won't let anyone else join anymore, and then it'll start the countdown and the race will begin. So it's usually a good etiquette thing if you are the last person to hit the ready button, just to say, hey guys, I'm hitting the button, everyone's good, and like everyone will probably say yes. You just don't want to start it out of the blue, especially if it's taken a long time for people to get settled in and patch the file and stuff like that. All right, so once you're in the before we get into other stuff, so you see there's a button here for seed. If you click that, it takes you to SotN.io with the right seed name and all the right settings already set up. I actually don't even think it allows you to change anything, and that can be a great way to patch the file. The other way is to use this PPF document, which we'll talk about in a bit, so just ignore that for now. You can also click the multi-stream if if you're not participating but you want to watch the race, and it'll bring up the multi-stream link, and you'll see everyone's stream from whomever is in the race and stream at the same time. And lastly, below all these four buttons, there's a link to the PPF patcher, which we'll describe in a moment. And it also shares the starting equipment spoilers, which you're allowed to see. It'll be grayed out by default. You just click it, and it'll show you the spoilers. Keep in mind that for presets that have item stat randomization, that you won't be able to trust what it's telling you. But for all the other ones, like this one's a guarded OG seed, I could trust that, like, yes, when I get in control of Alucard, I have a Saber. I also have a Moonstone, all that good stuff. What's Saber, if this was like a safe seed, which has item stat randomization, it would tell me I have a sword, but it doesn't necessarily mean I have the Saber sword. And even if I did have the saber sword, it doesn't mean I have the stats of the saber sword. Okay, all that good stuff here. If you do choose to use the PPF, which we'll talk about in a moment, just click the seed name. It'll download it to your computer, and then you can patch it later. Okay, so that's everything on this screen here. So when the race starts, so yeah, when everyone hits ready, it'll begin. You press start on the name entry screen, and you press start, especially or specifically when it says go. So it's gonna say 3, 2, 1, go, and that's when you hit start. The join and ready buttons are going to be replaced with finish and forfeit. And it's the first racer to defeat Dracula in the second castle and hit finish wins, right? So you're not defeating Richter, that doesn't count. You got to beat Dracula in the second castle through to get the intended ending of the game. So everyone who forfeits is essentially tied. And you may have watched a number of races, and you see us in the voice channel tell each other time. Saying time doesn't mean that like you win. You have to hit the finish button. Saying time is just a courtesy that we do. And it's fun. But right now the way it works outside of a tournament is that the first person to beat Dracula and then hit finish is the winner. So you'll want to set up your screen so you can easily get to that finish button after you've killed Dracula. I usually have Discord up on one side and the game up on another side of my screen so I can easily click to it. Okay, so that's all that works there. Let's talk about the rules. So again, Dracula is the finish line, beat him in the second castle. You've got to use either BizHawk or Mendefend to emulate the game. We recommend BizHawk because then you can use the tracker and it's generally a better emulator. The Mendefend is great though if your computer can't handle BizHawk. It's a bit of a lighter, let's just for lack of a better word, it's just like a lighter version of it. So it might be helpful if BizHawk isn't working. But for game specific stuff, you can't do things that wouldn't be allowed in a glitchless speedrun of the game. So like no shift lines or out of bounds. You can't start with like Axe Lord armor or luck mode by changing your name. You can't use gem duplication for limited money, and you can't use like save states within the emulator or like any other emulator shenanigans to make the game faster. So that's how that works there. You definitely can't stream snipe or have your Twitch chat help you. So like once you're in a race, it's like you're not watching anyone else. You're kind of in your own world. You can chat to people in the voice chat, but typically you're not going to like say spoilers and stuff, and you're not going to let your chat help you out. You should really have a rule in your Twitch chat that says no race spoilers. The you're not allowed to use save states, but you are allowed to use quick resets and save splitting. So save splitting is like when you go into the game and you literally save the game within it, like you sleep in the coffin, and then what you can do is you can perform a quick reset by holding select and start. Hit select first and then start. It'll be more consistent. You hold that down for 3 seconds, and it will reset you back to the title screen. It won't make you go through all like the PlayStation logo stuff that usually happens when you turn on the console. So it definitely saves time. It's an intended mechanic. It's built into the actual game itself. Like throw your vanilla game into a PlayStation, give it a try. It works. So it's absolutely allowed. So there's sometimes we want to save your game, explore an area, and you don't want to trek back. It's faster to just do a quick reset and then load your saves that you made earlier in the game. You'll hear me say save state a bunch, but like I'm just messing up the word. I do it all the time, especially in the middle of a race. But essentially, you're not allowed to save states to the emulator. You are allowed saving your game for a save split by using the intended mechanics of the game. You're allowed to view the equipment spoilers. You're not allowed to view the relic spoilers or solutions. But you typically won't see them, especially if you get a seed from the race bot. It's not going to make them available anyways. The damage stacks in the prologue and the MP refill glitch are allowed because you really can't stop them. It's not like you do it necessarily intentionally. It just happens. You are allowed to skip death in the beginning of the game. He usually yoinks your stuff, but you can completely skip that if you have a library card. So sometimes you may get a library card from a drop or in your starting equipment if you've done some things in the prologue, which I've got a video on. You can start with a couple use items, and if you happen to have a library card, you can use it to warp to the library, and then you'll completely skip the death cutscene, and he won't show up again. So you can absolutely do that. But the only thing is, that's the one situation you can do it in. The other two situations are there are presets called Lycanthrope and Nimble, and you're actually supposed to skip death in those ones. You can use like transformations to do that, and it's like not shift line shenanigans, just like literally doing a wing smash through the whatchamacallit, the cutscene, or with the wolf like running so fast through the cutscene that you don't stop in time to meet death. You just fly through the next room. There's videos on that, like a few people have done. So explore those if you like. But those are the only scenarios where to skip death, and you can't do like what the speed run does in any percent, and like use like level ups and shift lines, all that kind of stuff. The last rule is there's two presets called OG, and in those presets you have to collect the spike breaker item before you can obtain the silver ring. In other presets, you don't need to do that. You can go to the silver ring check and essentially open the door without spike breaker using some iframe shenanigans. But you can't do that in OG. That's like the only like preset specific rule outside of skipping death and Lycanthrope and Nimble. Okay, so now we know the rules. What about etiquette, right? The biggest thing is, right, and you don't want to be this person, is someone's getting a race on the go. You're like, yeah, I'm going to join the race. So you hit the join button, right? And then you're like, oh, I've got to set up a Twitch scene, and I need to change this and that, and I'm going to make a sandwich. I should probably shit before I do this, right? Like, don't be that person, right? Like when you hit join, typically, unless it's already been discussed or people have agreed to it if you've discussed it with them, you should probably be ready to go within 5 minutes. Like we've all got lives and stuff we got to deal with, right? You've got the kids, you got work, you're trying to sleep, all this kind of stuff, right? We only have so much time. If it's going to take you a long time to get ready, just watch the race and enjoy it, and then get in on the next one. Don't be that person. It's bad. Like people won't like you for that. The Also, you want to avoid sharing spoilers in voice chat, but you do want to chat, right? Like people will say like, "Oh, I don't like this seed. Oh, this is terrible. Oof, I died." Like that's fine. Or the seed's a lot of fun. I'm liking this, right? Like, that's cool, right? And like you can talk about a couple of things that like are people are guaranteed to have, like especially if you're not able to skip death with a library card just because it's not available. If you're like, oh, the first relic is fun, right? Like this will be a cool seed, right? Like that's generally okay. If you're like, oh, I just got nothing at Spirit Orb, right? Oh my God, this sucks, right? Like that's like people are gonna start skipping it. Like don't do that, right? So like use a good sense of judgment. People will help you course correct, but like sharing spoilers, like, oh, I'm on my way to Dracula right now, when you're like no one else has finished the race, like that's not good. The So you want to talk in voice chat. You don't want to give spoilers, and you don't want to be an influencer. All right, like although it does happen, but especially if you're on Twitch and you're trying to talk to your chat and stuff like that. But you don't want to just like mute yourself and never talk to anyone in the race. Like it's not solitaire, right? Like the community's filled with good people who are amazing to interact with. Like you should interact with them. The You can mute. Like I mute all the time because like I don't have a big Twitch following. Like I don't monetize this shit anyway, so I don't care. But like sometimes I'll talk to them, but I'm still listening to what people are saying. I don't deafen, and I've just got like I bind mute to like R3, so I can quickly just like easily get back and forth. I also mute because I'm like just personality perspective. I'm usually pretty introspective, so like I'll talk through things. It just makes it easier for me. But so I don't want to like spoil things, but I still want to like work out things in my head, and I'll say it aloud sometimes. So I'll mute for that. But otherwise, like you want to be available to speak with someone. Like it's more fun for everyone that way. And again, they're such a great group of people in the community, so like engaging with them is a great time. Don't take anything too seriously. Like no one right now is really salty. And you shouldn't be. Like everyone gets frustrated and stuff, but they're usually frustrated with themselves. And they get over it fairly quickly. It's just for fun. Like right now, we're not even playing for net points. Like we got that turned off by default. Like just enjoy it. Like you're not here to like necessarily break records and stuff. If you can do it, it's great. But like don't hang your hat on I've got to be the best or else, right? Like it won't be well received. And last thing is don't be a jerk and follow the Discord rules, right? Like it's fairly straightforward, but like, like don't be salty, don't be an asshole, like don't be a racist. The Actually, if you are a racist and you're like, well, I'll just keep my mouth shut to follow the rules, you can still get the fuck out of here, right? Fuck you. Anyways, so that's all how that works. All right, so that's the general etiquette, and you'll be fine. If you're looking to start a race, So the first thing you want to do is ping the race pager. So just type at race pager in the randomizer text channel. I should have had a picture here, but you have to type at race pager, and then above the text box there'll be like a user group. You want to click that. You'll notice that the at race pager in your text box will turn blue. That's when it will ping everyone. If you just type at race pager without doing that, it'll just like type out the text without actually initiating the bot to like broadcast it to everyone. And then you'll see people, they'll potentially come in and say, yes, I can race, and can I do it in 20 minutes? Or, hey, do you want to race this preset? Or what preset do you like? All that kind of stuff. So once you've got all that figured out, then you want to go to the race channel, the text channel, and just type slash and then click start, or type out start and hit enter, either way. When you do this, it's going to provide you with this option here that's like right below me. And it's essentially just going to give you every preset that we race. And even like more, like actually it doesn't have glitch on here, but I'm sure you could race it just with a custom. At any rate, so you pick your preset, and after that, it's going to ask you for 3 options. These 3 options don't really matter. Like ranked kind of matters. Like you can use that to turn ELO on or off. It's off by default, so if you don't want ELO, just keep it off. Do discuss it with people before if you are going to turn it on. Tournament doesn't matter. Like just trust me, it doesn't matter. It's not the same tournament mode from SotN.io that is always going to be on through the race pager, or sorry, the race bot. So don't worry about it. And platform doesn't matter unless like you're trying to race like any percent or something like that on an actual platform. So just don't worry about them. So after you pick your preset, click into the text box, and then just hit enter, and that will start everything. You don't need to select every option to make it happen. Just select your preset, click again to the text box, hit enter, and you'll be good to go. And then what you'll notice is that it'll create the thing we saw before, this bad boy here. That will be created immediately. And then you'll also notice that the speedrun race bot joins race channel, the voice channel 1. And that's where you'll want to be as well. And the race bot will announce the countdown once everyone is ready to go, and hit the ready button, and it'll count down from there. All right, so that's how we start races. It's fun. It's not too bad. But what's this PPF? Like we saw the PPF here, right? Like if I download this Happy Cherry 91, right? Like what the hell am I actually going to do with it? So let's break that down. So the key piece of why PPFs exist is because they are not ROMs. They are not a copy of the game, right? And specifically, we're trying to avoid copies of the game because you can't share those, right? Like it's copywritten material. So it's bad time. So never share your bin file on the Discord ever. And if you do by mistake, delete it immediately and like beg for forgiveness, okay? So because it's not a ROM, it's shareable. And then we can essentially share seeds without sharing the actual game. So the PPF file, as it says here, contains the randomization data from SotN.io. So it does 2 things. 1, it makes a shareable seed. And 2, although it's not as big of a deal anymore, one of its original purposes was sometimes it would take a long time to generate a seed. The PPF is like the output of that generation. You just normally don't see it because the website like does it all in the background. So if you generated a seed that took a long time to generate, you could have generated a PPF, given it to somebody else, and then that person would be able to apply it and have it generate essentially immediately without waiting like the 5 to 10 minutes. That's why the race bot generates a PPF. So if people join later, they can just grab the PPF file, bring it to the website, and patch it immediately rather than having to generate the seed themselves. So it's very good from both those 2 perspectives. And it's why we use it. It's shareable, and in some cases, it can help us start races faster. So there's this tool at the bottom of the screen you can see, and you can get that there by two ways. You either just type into your address bar or ppf.sotn.io, or on sotn.io, there's a PPF patcher link. It takes you to the same place. So when you've got your PPF that was shared to you through the Discord, or if you're on sotn.io, you can ask it to generate a PPF instead of a bin file, either way. You put the PPF in the left-hand side, and then you take your bin, which is the ROM, which you're not sharing with anyone, and make sure it's a vanilla ROM, and you put that in the right box. You either click choose file, or you can click and drag. It's pretty nifty. Once you've done both of those, there'll be a button that shows up below in red that says apply. And if you do that, the website will spit out a new version of the bin that's randomized, and then you put that in your game folder to use. But you see here that there's this like SHA1 file, and you're like, what the hell is this, right? The it's an optional component, and essentially what it does is if you add it here, the PPF patcher will assess your bin file to make sure it's a vanilla bin that's a good rip of the game and all that jazz. You can get that file in the randomizer text channel on the Discord. It's pinned. It's not required, but it does help in case you accidentally grab the wrong version of the game, and then you end up randomizing a randomized bin, and then essentially it's over from there. The game will be essentially, or most times, unbeatable, or at least have like oddities to it that aren't acceptable, and you can't race like that. The baseline website, SotN.io, essentially does the SHA1 file by itself, so you can't randomize a randomized bin through the normal website, but this just adds another piece to it, and it's all good. Generally, when I look to generate racing seeds, when I go on to this here, I just click the seed button, and I don't even worry about the PPF, and I just randomize it like I normally would using the bin file. But the PPF can be a fun time, especially for we just recently restarted doing weekly races, and the way we facilitate that is we share a PPF, and then people patch it, and then they do the race for that week, and then share their results and talk about it in the appropriate section of the Discord. All right. So anyway, so we've gone through all that. So you know how to interact with the race bot. You know how to join races. You know how to start races. You know how to get pinged, how to ping other people. It's good stuff. But like, when do you want to start racing? And it really doesn't matter. There's not really a time when you should or shouldn't. If my biggest recommendation is if you're thinking about racing, just do it. Just go in and with it saying, hey, this is like, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm going to get some experience. I'm probably going to lose the first time. Who wouldn't? Like, I certainly lost the first time I did. I'm going to get some of like the first time jitters out of the way, and then I can just focus on like getting better, right? That's what I'd recommend. The real recommendation is like whenever you're comfortable. If you feel comfortable to race, you should. If you're thinking about, well, like what's like a good baseline time to work with, typically if you're doing non-adventure seeds within like an hour and a half or thereabouts, you should probably start racing. You're in a good place there, and of course you'll continue to knock time off of your completion times, but that's probably the best place to start. But don't worry, we've had people in their first races take like 3 hours. The only thing I would suggest though is that if it is going to take you that much time and people are trying to start another race, just hit forfeit. Like, again, like we're not even racing for points right now, so it doesn't matter. Complete the rest of your seed and let people like start a race on the race spot. Anyways, that's it for me. So that's all you need to know. Packaged in about 28 minutes. But yeah, it's detailed and hopefully very helpful. So if you again check out God's Child's videos in the description. Let me know if I've screwed things up. I'll make the pinned comment the best one. I'll pin the best comment, and then you can get some more information from there. Otherwise, reach out to me, and I'm happy to help with stuff. All right, guys. So we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, eh?